5 seconds late. My God, I'm going to get fired. All systems are indeed go. Go, 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 go. We're picking up exactly where we left off yesterday. I just have a little bit left. Pick out some triangles here. I think that's all. I'm not quite sure. I'm going to do a last pass checking things here. Okay, I'm going to pick out some triangles. And I believe it's going to be clearing time. So it'll be noisy for quite a bit here. It'll be noisy for 5 or 10 minutes before I settle back down to quiet work. So. First waiter time, yes, but not just yet. We got some bit of work to do first. So. Also, before I forget, I can mention it now. I prepared. Yesterday we were talking about. I don't remember what the conversation started. We were talking about graphs, Mokahankan sales and stuff, different percentage of our income and things like that. So this morning, while I was sitting here waiting for the stream to start, I went to my bookkeeping software and I took some screenshots. So if you remind me a bit later on, like we've got some, might be interesting about that. You can see where percentages of our revenue are coming from. And today being Saturday, there's no Cameron Time won't be here today, and Rachan is off today. She's not coming in this weekend. So it's going to be just me right through to the end, I think. The staff today, it's Kawai-san and Koizumi-san, I think. So they should be coming in somewhere around 9:20. Did the sales strength continue last night? Yes. In fact, I have it in my other window here. The shop, the girls and stuff left at 5:30, and there was a sale at 5:27. Then the next sale was 9:32 in the hour between 9 and 10. So. Well, this is not a complaint. I find I got lots of work done. I've got reprogramming to do. My God, there's a lot of reprogramming to do. It's a long story there. So I just sat there quietly. There was people in and out, chatting and looking, and please come and look around. But nobody purchased anything until that magic hour of 9 o'clock. I see that on Facebook, was it yesterday or the day before? Yes, must be yesterday. I guess Cameron posted again about the owl print. And you might be wondering, why did we do that? Why talk about the owl now or something at this time or whatever? And it's because I made a change in our management system software about a week ago or so. What has happened is, we're constantly sending print jobs to our own printers plus some of the printers outside that we're using. And our management software controls this. We have what's called print jobs, where whenever a new job is decided, myself or Cameron goes to the management software, pulls up the print job module, and assigns the work, assigns the printer and this in a specific set of blocks. The blocks sometimes have to be moved from Ome or Kubota-san's workshop or whatever. So the software handles all this. Once we just punch it in, the software handles the rest, where the blocks are supposed to go, how many sheets of paper necessary, comes up on my DOSA calendar, the whole workflow of paper, word blocks, and the assignment to the printer. And then it goes right through during the progress of that print job. The printer then updates it once she's started. Once she's finished, she updates the page to show that she's sent the prints off to me. I do the counting and checking. I send them through to our OME workshop for packaging and shipping. And the OME staff punches in the final numbers, and then at the next payday, the sheet comes up on Cameron's computer to show, you know, how much that printer needs to get paid. So it's really, really nice, comprehensive, integrated system. We couldn't possibly order such a system from anybody. Anyway, long story short, what we did is we realized that sometimes we get a print that's been out of stock for a while because we haven't had it. It goes through this process and gets printed, but then even though the print goes into stock, we just don't really think about it and forget about it. And this happened last week when a print that has been out of stock now for 2 years, we finally got it back in. And even though it's sitting in the shop here, we realized that we hadn't told anybody online about this. Not sure which one of these comes out. It's kind of this one from out here. I'll catch that after the test paper. So anyway, what I did was, when I was doing one of my software updates a week or so ago, I built a little addition to our software module that whenever the OME staff updates a print in the system, of that last stage in the process I just mentioned, the print job, when it reaches the final stage in the process, that the print is now coming out into stock, into the shop, what the software now does is it just sends Cameron a little reminder saying, hey Cameron, after being out of stock for X months, this print is now available again. And that's all it does. It doesn't post to Facebook, it doesn't do anything. It just reminds Cameron that a print that has been missing for maybe 1 week is now back in stock, or maybe it's been missing for a year. So Cameron got that email. He's been getting these emails on his desk now for the past couple of weeks. So that's the reason why he posted that yesterday, because he got the email message that said the owl is now back in stock. So it's great. It's an automatic reminder to him to get going and tell people about this, which he did. So there's two. He's done that twice this past week. Once about the owl, and once about that print we had priest on the snowy path, which we haven't had for a couple of years. We couldn't buy software like we have. We could not buy it. It's just not possible to create such a system designed to describe to lots of people what you want to. Is there something different with the audio setup today? I don't think so. The microphone is right there. It's a little bit close to the computer. Is it picking up fan noise? I can move the clip over to my toolbox. No other specific setup. Change. Are the new owl prints on the new paper? No, everything still is on Iwana-san's paper. Everything. We're not sending out prints on the other paper yet. Ishikawa-san, when she did that batch of owl prints, did some tests on the other paper, but they're not yet. I think. Okay, I think that's it. I think we're going to have to get noisy. And in this room here with the echo, we're going to see that this might be a real problem with the noise coming up here. All right, let's have a go. Zoom out. Oh, I know what I don't have. I don't have my bench plug. In the move, this disappeared in the move. Think, Dave. Think, where is your bench plug? I know where it is. It's upstairs in the room that I crashed in. Trip to the second level. Ken Hallett's got me. Back in 1 minute, if I can find it quickly. If you hear some rummaging sounds, it might take a couple of minutes. Sorry about this. Am I that predictable? Got it. What kind of trouble would have been making while I've been away? Yoisho. Beam me up. What's behind the curtain? What curtain? Oh, the curtain. It's not a curtain, it's a mirror. It's just the wall. I know this is a gift from our landlady. This is an interesting story. She won't be here, so listening, so it's okay. Oh, the little old lady who owns the building. She's a really kind, really super kind little old lady. She's got 3 or 4 buildings here and there. She gets income from them. She's set. Her husband passed away a long time ago. She's now, sitting pretty for the end stage of her life. If she was an aggressive type person, she could really demand much more rent for this building. We could be forced to pay double or whatever, at least. She's not aggressive. She likes what we're doing. She's happy that we're able to renovate her building, try and get rid of the rats, build new toilets, stuff like that. And there's a certain, what's the word? There's a relationship. She's the landlady, I'm the tenant. Every year, twice a year, we have to give her a small gift, stuff like this. There's regular things in Japanese culture, same as in any culture, that have to be done. So because we had this opening, she had to give us a gift. And she didn't just dump something on us at random. She came in advance and said, I'm going to be bringing you a gift next week. What would you like? And we're like, what am I going to say? So she chatted a bit and she said, I've got some old fabric in my collection, some old kimono fabric from around 100 or 150 years ago. She wasn't so sure what it was. And she knows this isn't a kimono shop, but so she thought, what if I make a tapestry wall hanging from this old kimono fabric for you? So of course we're thinking, we don't say no to this lady, anything. She's really kind to us. If she says jump, I jump, whatever. Not in a bad way, but whatever. We want to keep in good books with her. So she felt she had an obligation. She had to give us a gift. She also feels an obligation. She has to be something valuable in quotes, meaning, actually it's something that has money value. So anyway, long story short, she's got this old antique kimono fabric, which if it went into an auction or something would probably bring a fair amount because it's quite a rare type fabric. So she got a friend of hers and they chopped it up and made a wall hanging. And unfortunately, it's just black silk, but on a couple of places on it, I don't know if I can't zoom with this camera here. Maybe I'll turn the other camera later. And it's got some ukiyo-e type drawings. They look a bit like parodies of some hokusai type drawings. And maybe they're actually taken from hokusai manga or something. I don't know the derivation. And it's quite spectacular stuff, It's a beautifully handmade, it's all hand. Is it woven or sewn or painted? I think it's painted. I can't sure, I'm not an expert on this. Anyway, there it is. This is a gift from our landlady. It's a wall hanging to help, show off my alcove. It's kind of darker and gloomier than I would like because we were trying to keep a real, light walls and delicate wood feeling here. But when this lady says, here's a present for you, we say, thank you very much. Actually, she gave us 2. One to hang here and one more for the sort of entrance to the second floor when it goes upstairs. An actual noren shape that you would go through with your head. We won't be hanging that, because there's no customers going upstairs just yet. But and even if there was, I'm not quite sure if they would want to go through a black noren that hid where they were going. Okay, now I got to get noisy here. There's my 2 chisels. I first need a round chisel, which I'll use to go around some of the areas. And then after a bit of that, I'll use a bigger, wider, flatter chisel to clear away some of the big wide areas. Now I've got the microphone in my toolbox here, which is not going to work. So, again, let's play with the mic here. If I put it up. I don't know how much cable I've got here. Okay, the mic is up. That may make it worse, picking up more banging, I don't know. Are you going to turn your volume down, or should I turn my volume down? Let's just try this. I've got no idea. In this really echoey room, this may be, I don't know, this may be difficult. So let's, I think too, I don't need this. I'm going to move the flask out of the way, because I'm going to have to turn this block sideways. And I've got the wrong glasses now. And number one mistake is the bench connecting the camera. No earthquake. Okay. All right, let's just give this a go and see what happens. If I need to turn my volume down or whatever, just let me know. I can't see it anymore. Okay, here we go. Oh, it's noisy for me, let alone you guys. Ooh. What's the verdict, gang? Is it unbearable or what? Pinky in the mic, different banging. Yeah, okay. And what we'll do then with this is, rather than me bang, 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 bang all morning for the next half hour, what I'll do is I'll outline this area, cut into the edge of it, and then smooth it off with the smaller, quieter tools. You know, there's no point in me banging like this for a full hour. It's not fun for you, it's not fun for me. So let me just clear out this area first, then we'll spend the rest of the time doing it quietly and I can participate in conversation and stuff. So we'll do it zone by zone. Today we'll do this zone only. chip shop. So, the chip shop. The grain on this thing goes upside, downside, backwards, all over the place. Who chose this block anyway? I remember, that's that hard spot. Remember, there's a giant knot in the middle of the wood here, which is why we chose this bad piece. So I'm going to ignore that piece for the moment here. That's why it's causing trouble. That's going to take some stupendous banging. We'll leave it. You're going to hear that down the end of the block. So leave it for now. Yeah, that was right there. See, look at that. It's a giant hole in the middle of the block there. Okay, let's just get a bit closer. Okay, one more minute of this and then we'll get back to quiet work. Glasses, glasses, glasses. It's both. It's a no-no area and a not area. It's interesting. You know, the not is right in the difficult part of the image, but whatever. What I should have done, perhaps maybe before the stream started, I should have carved that out. Then we don't have to worry about this. Anyway. Okay, let's move to quiet work now. There's lots more hammering to do, but as I said, there's no point in doing that on stream so much. There's lots of clearing work. And for this, I've got to put the light back on. And let's figure out where the camera needs to look. I still haven't got my real light figured out, you know, it's a temporary light here. Okay, you can see what needs to be done. There's still much roughness here between the carved area and the outside, so lots of work for me to clean this off. I can zoom back in a bit more. Okay, let me find some quiet tools. Yeah, just color it over. Yeah, of course, of course. Sorry, John. Whatever this, any number of ways to do it. Just. Well, I could just peel off the hunch to there. It doesn't matter. All right, what are we doing here? Tools, 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 tools. Should we do that then? Right. Dave takes his wet finger. Let's do that. We could peel off the tracing here. No jokes, please. Bizarre situation. I've got some water here. You can see the knot. You can see the wood, haunted. It's actually a hole with a grit, impossibly hard. There's no way we could have ever used such a piece of wood. So, but this is the perfect use for it. Okay, are we safe now? That's right. Like somebody said, it might be worse this way. I don't know. Well, I give up. Whatever. I give up. I'm just a wood carver here. I give up. Tune in to the Twitch channel, Japanese printmaking. So I noticed my mother's very quiet this morning. Well, I'm off on my own camera. Just a minute. Trying to get where I am. Height. Move down a bit. that situation we just had, and carving every one of the color blocks, it's going to be the same situation. And printing, clearly we won't be doing much of the final printing on Twitch because the entire picture is visible at every step of the way, so whatever, we'll take it as it comes as we get there. Well, we did get clarification from Twitch staff, and they were clear. Twitch really is a family-friendly environment, they said. And even though some channels can be marked as, you know, whatever adult content, even within that environment, they were concerned about the explicit nature of this, you know. And Facebook and places like that wrestle with this too, you know. One man's art is another man's porn, you know, really. So, and I'm in no way upset with them for suggesting they would like me not to show this. It's okay. I'm not upset at all. I know any given person doesn't mind about this, but somebody else who stumbles across it, I know, may be a bit shocked. So it's okay. I know this is a public forum, and you have to, in a public forum, you have to maintain, you know, what sort of each society generally accepts as a normal level of, what's the word, decency and stuff like this. It's okay. The image that's depicted here is something that would normally occur in a very private situation. I mean, not with the octopus, but the act that's involved here. It's not one that we are accustomed to see in public, so it's okay. No, I'm not yelling censorship in any way whatsoever. I think if I was the, whatever, boss of Twitch or whatever, I would make exactly the same rule myself, you know. Everybody's also using the word here, a woman's dream and stuff. Remember that label, that this was the dream of the fisherman's wife. That label was created by the first Westerners who saw this. That's nothing to do with the image itself, actually. When Westerners saw this and grabbed it and took it back to the museums in the West with much of other ukiyo-e, this somehow acquired the label, the dream of the fisherman's wife, I think is what it's got its own Wikipedia page under that title. But that's a pure, I don't know, fabrication. we've talked about this before on this stream. I think somebody linked to a person who had done a translation of the Japanese text on there. And, there's no sense in the original that this was supposed to be a dream. This is, whatever. It's a story. It's obviously not in any way intended to be realistic, but it's a story. And she's not a fisherman's wife. She is a diver in her own right. She has a job. She dives for, I can't say seashells, what they are, I don't know. Awa, I forget the translation. She's diving for seafood, And there was a long tradition in Ukiah. Utamaro has some famous prints, designs of the shellfish divers engaged in sexual activities with undersea creatures. It was a common element in Japanese erotic art at the time. This block is crispy, crispy, crispy. Will this be sold online and in the store? We won't have it in the store. No, it's going to be strictly an online item. And we've already got the website for it. It's, what is it? It's theoctopusprint.com, all one word, the Octopus Print, with no spaces or underlines, theoctopusprint.com. There's a shell of a website built there already, and that's where the print will be sold from. It won't be in our normal online catalog, and it won't be in the shop. Again, not because we're ashamed of it, but because, some people would not want to see this. And it won't be in the shop specifically here, although, we've got to get ready for the case when people show up expecting it to be here. So maybe we'll keep some copies wrapped up, I don't know, under the counter. Is that the way it's going to work? I don't know. But no, it won't be sitting on the shelves openly in the shop. Of course not. This basically will have its own website. Good question. Will you start selling more shunga in general? I don't know. It's an interesting question. And remember, we're stretched to the limit with our production resources, really. I'm not supposed to be doing this. I'm in the middle of a print series with collectors waiting. This is really not something we should be doing. In a business point of view, the use of our resources. We don't have enough carving ability. We're stretched already with our printing ability. We've got people waiting for my normal subscription prints. We really shouldn't be doing this. So, I'm not quite sure if I can verbalize why I started this, because it's just something I wanted to do, It's not like I'm running out of time and I got to get going and do some of these projects, but I don't know why. But there's no reason we should think of we're going to be starting to do a whole shunga series. Our time and resources are basically booked up as far as we can see. Next year's subscription series is going to be way more labor intensive than this year's series. I myself may have to be doing some of the work on it. So I don't think you're going to see a general thing happening here. This is a specific one-off project, a special item, in the same way that the Great Wave was for us a few years back. I had resisted doing such, can I say the word, cliched reproductions for many, many years. But at a certain place and time, that project seemed like the right thing to do, and it really, really was. It helped us tremendously. It's still helping us every day. So this is it's a one-off project. There is some other shunga work that I would absolutely undertake if we had the resources for it. Long before I even saw this print, I think, there's an Utamaro book. Utamaro is another one of these people. He did quite a lot of erotic work, shunga work, and some of it is just, my God, what a grotesque stuff. Who wants to look at that? And some of it is in a word, magnificent. There's a book that he produced. It's called the Uta Makura. It's a pun. His name is Utamaro. Uta means song, and Makura is pillow. And Uta Makura, the poem of the pillow, or the song of the pillow, is just one of the most astonishing things that men have ever created on this planet. Absolutely. If you ever get a chance to be in in the British Museum, and you can find somehow to get into the back room and somehow let them bring that book out and you can hold it in your hands and see it, it will change your life. It's an astonishing, astonishing creation. Erotic art, yes. It's erotic art in a different way than the one we're looking at here. This was done in the early 1800s, and it's all about the picture and the activity. By the time Utamaro came along, this is in the 1790s, I believe. By the time Utamaro was doing his erotic art, it wasn't just all about the picture and the thrusting. It was about the situation and the emotion and the interplay. And it is incredible, that book, Utamakura. And if you just sort of click to it now somewhere on Google, it clicks it, click, 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 oh, a bunch of pictures, yeah, whatever. But there's room for every one of those pictures to be looked at and analyzed, and who are these people and what are they doing and what's going on. And the design is incredible. And the original book, the production was, I don't know, just to die for. Absolutely incredible. And I had it in the back of my mind for many, many, many years that I would like to make a reproduction of that book. It's not going to happen now because I don't have the physical capabilities anymore. I'm 66, and that would require, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 years of intense, concentrated work at a skill level that I'm not sure if I still have. So I really shouldn't think about that as a potential project, but would I like to do that? Yeah, under the counter, wrapped in brown paper. I really want to avoid that kind of situation, because it turns it into something sort of sleazy, I don't know what we'll do, Online, no problem. I say online, no problem, but do we get into a situation where when you're mailing it to certain countries, it's going to get intercepted as pornography? I don't know. We haven't investigated any of this yet. Oops, light. Okay, let's try and get this inside area cleared up here. The thing about the Utamakura book, it's an album of, I believe, 12 double spreads, not 10, I think it's 12. And as usual with most of those shunga albums, the first spread, the first one is relatively innocuous. The situation is clear, but there's no outright sex, there's no naked bodies flailing away. So the cover of all of those shunga albums is usually the same way. I mean the cover, the first spread. And the researchers tell us, and I don't believe this for a minute, the researchers tell us that the reason the first image of those albums is always fairly sedate is that if a kid in the house happens to pick up the book and saw that, he'd open the first page, wouldn't really be interested, but wouldn't be shocked and would put it away. I don't buy that for a minute. That's not a plausible scenario, but whatever. That's what the the official line from the researchers is as to why the first image is usually sedate. I think it's just a warm up, whatever. Just start slowly instead of opening with a bang. You know. That's the way that activity is usually handled. So. But the book is astonishing. If you want to play the psychology game, you can look at him as a psychologist who is analyzing these people and their feelings and what's going on. If you just want to see the imagery, it's fine. It's an astonishing masterpiece. Somebody's found the link to that book, and if you're looking at the pictures, that's okay, that's part of it. But part of the thing about these things is the physical structure and feel and heft of the book itself. It's printed on astonishingly delicate, thin paper. The whole book itself just weighs a few grams. It's exquisitely light and soft to the touch. And just holding one of those books, just holding one is an experience. I'm just blabbing. It's impossible to describe in words. You know. This kind of book, I'm not sure if it's the one-hand kind of book. There's lots more simpler, straight-ahead, one-hand type of porn books available. That book was different, I think. It was for one thing, it was a very, very expensive production. Massive number of colors, extremely high-quality paper, delicate carving. This was not simply a throw-off, toss-off porn book. By this is 1790. By this time, Utamoto is really famous. His name means something. This is not a book picked up by, for the explicit purpose of, the one-hand type of book. I can't say it was an art book. They didn't have such a concept as that, but this was a very expensive production. It was clearly a special item. And it must have been physically in the shops at that time very, very expensive to buy. I have no idea what the numbers are, what value, how many yen or sen or whatever they were. But this was not your standard toss-off porn book. This one was. The book that this is from was a cheap, quickly produced production. The Utamakura was not. It's a different era. It's generations later. It's a different type of production generations later. It's a generation earlier. So a totally different production environment. Get my years scrambled. This was around 1830 or something, I can't remember. The Utamakura book is 1790s. Published to a very expensive publisher, very expensive production. Dave, if you got these blocks or another blocks for this type of print, would you make the printing? I'm not quite sure what you're asking me. You mean if original blocks came to light or something? I'm not sure what you're saying. There was an event, this must be about 20 years ago now or somewhere. Somebody in the back room of the Boston Museum of Fine Arts came across some boxes and packages that hadn't been opened for a long, long time. The Boston Museum of Fine Arts, the MFA, it's famous for having such gigantic collection that nobody really knows what's inside. And in recent years now, it's been more research. They've been using interns and different researchers from around the world have been in there. But if you go back 20, 30 years, the MFA had all kinds of boxes that had basically been unopened since they were donated to the museum. Anyway, going back, I think this is late 1980s, or it could be 1990s, somebody opened the box and found a bunch of wood blocks. And they were almost the entire wood block set for a famous Hokusai book called Sumidagawa Ryogan Ichiran. It's a panoramic view of both sides of the Sumida River. And it was published sometime in Hokusai's lifetime, and it was a 3-volume set. Quite a spectacular production. It may have been the same publisher that I'm talking about who did the Utamoto print, Staiju Zaburo. I don't remember, I'm sorry. Anyway, they found the blocks. So I think it was William Bigelow, one of the earlier Westerners who had been poking around Japan, who had, if for some reason or in some coincidence or circumstance, come across that block set, bought it, shipped it back home, and there it sat in the museum untouched for whatever, many, 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 many years. And when they uncovered that block set, of course, they had a look at it. The researchers went nuts having a look at it. And then the question came up was, can they be reprinted? And what they did was they got the cooperation with a bunch of Japanese companies. I think it was a TBS media company and a JAL or whatever to pay for the researchers back and forth. And they sent the blocks back to Japan to the Adachi company, who at that time still had the production capacity to be able to try and put that back together. And I think one of their printers, Nakajima-san, no, I don't remember who did it, I'm sorry, I don't remember, did the actual work. They did another, I think they did 200 copies. They made a limited run of a new version of the print of the books from those blocks. And it wasn't easy. The blocks were old and dried and twisted, and the guy really, he must have had to use just every trick in the book to try and get the thing back together again. I think there were 1 or 2 missing pages that their carvers, the Adachi carvers, recut. That would have been, I forget, 1990 or somewhere under, I don't know. So yeah, the answer, can the old blocks be reprinted if they're found? It depends. It depends. That block set was found to be usable. They've been in just quiet storage for all those years. Probably in a museum environment too, nice and dry and no chance to get moldy. There was a book and a DVD made about that. How's our time here? It's 9 o'clock. I was going to show you some numbers and stuff. Should we do that today or just postpone it till tomorrow? I don't know. We had a bit of a funny experience last night. I mentioned we'd sold a few prints after 9 o'clock, and the customer last night, it was unusual. It was a Japanese couple. They had come out of a restaurant up the street here, browsed along a bit on the way back to the train station, dropped in, and he knew me. As soon as he came in the door, he knew me because he'd seen me on NHK TV. But they had no idea the connection that this was our shop and whatever. But as soon as he came in the door, he said, "Oh my God, I've seen you. You were here." And he took him a minute to think about it, and then he remembered on NHK TV. So we're chatting. A very pleasant couple. They hadn't at that point bought anything. They're just strolling around, looking at our prints and chatting aimlessly and whatever. And I don't remember how the conversation started, but he must have picked up from something he'd seen on the NHK TV program. And he'd asked me, out of all the prints here, which is your favorite print of the ones you've made? Maybe he was thinking of buying it or something. I don't know. It doesn't matter. It was just conversation. So I mentioned the story that I really specifically don't have favorites so much. It's partly because it's like asking a parent which is your favorite child. Which is you don't go there. And then the other thing is that I can just sort of relate the story I told him. If you're a professional in some specific job, making something or doing something, you really must try and remember the rule not to have your own personal likes or dislikes so much. Don't let these things interfere with your job. Because if you do that, you will spend more focus and energy on the ones that you like, and you may find yourself not doing such a good job on something just because you sort of think you dislike it. And I think I gave the example. I said, imagine the situation. There's a chef, a guy who works in a hotel, and maybe he doesn't like strawberries. I think I use this same example sometimes when I'm telling this story. The chef doesn't like strawberries, but the menu planners come up. It's Valentine's, whatever. He's got to make some strawberry cakes, and he has no choice. He can't say, "No, I don't like strawberries. I can't make a good strawberry cake." It's his job. He's a chef. Make good strawberry cake. So your own likes and dislikes don't come into it. So I was just chatting with a guy, and I used this episode. I just pulled it off the top of my head. And he stops short like I hit him with a brick. His mouth is hanging open a little bit. And the conversation stops. And I'm thinking, what have I said? What do I do? What's wrong? What have I done? And literally for like 10 seconds or something, the room just goes quiet. He's stunned at what I've just said. A minute later, he comes back to life and he says, "You don't know what I do, but," he said, "I got to tell you, I have a farm out in Chiba near Makahari, and we are Chiba's best grower of strawberries." The guy was a strawberry farmer. And he tells me and I laugh and he laughs and it's all whatever. And then of course I had to ask him. I couldn't resist. I had to ask him. I said, "Do you like strawberries?" And he got in the mood of it. He got in the spirit of it. And he said, "I ain't going to tell you." It's all in Japanese. So. And it was cool. It was so nice. I mean, what are the odds? Give me a break. What are the odds, And he said at the moment they're not doing anything right now. He says their specialty is they do off-season strawberries for high-class venues, restaurants and hotels. And they work basically right now during the middle of the hot summer. All the strawberry farmers are selling strawberries everywhere. So strawberries are, quote, cheap, unquote. He says, we don't compete. We don't do it in the summer. We shut our greenhouses down. We do maintenance. We just take care of it. He says, once it starts to get chilly again, that's when we're ready. And we step in with our, they call them house strawberries, meaning a greenhouse. So his target market is upscale, off-season, high-end stuff. So exactly the market that I had talked about in my story, hotel, high-end restaurants. And the reason he'd been on this street is because there's a restaurant down the street. It's called Royal 2. It's a restaurant with a bit of a history. It's an old 60s era coffee shop that decided to go upscale with its food. And this guy, being in the business, knowing the restaurants and stuff from the back side, he says, we come here every few months to eat at that place. And he said, it never disappoints. So it's a restaurant across the street. It's next door to the Whale restaurant. And they had come out of there tonight and just strolled a minute. They saw our light and came in. So. There's always something every day, there's something every day. You remember a few years back, I used to do that, a story a week, and people ask me, Dave, how do you get all these ideas? Where do they come from? And I'm like, you got to be kidding. We have to beat them back. Like the story a week, I could do a story a day, a story an hour. Just all you got to do is live and do stuff and talk to people, and the stories just come. Story a week, my God. Okay, I think I'm roughly done with this corner here now. That's all smoothed out. That's smoothed out. There's still lots of little riffy-ruffy in the middle here. The normal procedure really would be here at this point to hammer all around, then move around to do what I've done just now, and then the last pass would be stuff like this. I don't know if you can see it on the... You can see there's little bits of, maybe from your point of view, they're a bit of a shadow, do you see? Just get rid of these last little bits and pieces here so that there's nothing else to catch the pigment. We really don't want roughness on the surface of this block anywhere to catch the pigment. The pigment should sit on top of the carved area, but our brushes rub over the whole surface. And if there's roughness in the oceans anywhere, it picks up pigment and will blot on the print when we're making lots of copies. Somebody making 5 copies, it's irrelevant, but if you're going to make hundreds of copies, you've got to get these surfaces smoothed out. Okay, I think that's it. Okay, I could go a bit more here. Let's do that. Missed this part here. Oops. Can you see it? There's still a ledge here. What's this? Has somebody found this next year's gift print? Strawberries? We are very much open to suggestions. I'm not going to let people choose our business for us, but if you've got ideas to toss our way, somewhere in the next couple of months I do have to figure out what will be the 2019 gift print. And it's got to fit a few criteria, eh? It's got to be, of course, attractive, suitable, it's got to fit structurally within the size we go, which is 15 by 11 the paper, 14 by 10 the image, and then it's got to be technically producible within that price range. You know, the price for the gift prints is still set at $30, right? Plus postage, and I really do not want to change that. So whatever image we choose has to have not too many colors, and it's got to be printable without too many mistakes. You know, if there's a high proportion of lost copies, then it's not a suitable image. And it's got to be a level of registration and finesse that our printers can handle. So it's not just a question of picking an image. Oh, that's a nice picture, let's use that one. We have to be able to make the damn thing. Okay, I think I'm pretty much done for this corner. We're certainly not done for this block. I've got to fix the registration mark here too. So let's go back to the screen here. I've got, like I said, I prepared a couple of images. It's 9:12 here. I guess we're okay. Étonné. Switch the birds to owls. Hokusai. Okay, I'll have a look. I'll follow on. I'll follow the suggestion here later on when I get a minute to look at it. Okay, and I don't remember what happened in the conversation yesterday. Cameron was here, whatever. People were asking us about something or other. I don't even remember how the conversation started. Yeah, somebody asked about the Hunger Club prints, the ones we keep on the wall over there, you know, the ones in the postcard size, like our gift print. I think somebody had asked what proportion or what percentage of our sales are made up from those. So I went back to my accounting software this morning while I was waiting for the time to start this stream. I took 3 or 4 screenshots. I didn't export graphs that are going to come in here in beautiful high resolution technology. I just took a few screenshots. And I've got 4 graphs to show you. And the first graph is a really simple one. It's Mokohankan's. These are all based on data the first 6 months of this year. So this is the current year, the first 6 months up to the end of June. Ken was curious about the Hunger Club print percentage. Okay, the first graph here is Mokohankan's overall income by percentage, what genre. And here it is. No, that's the wrong graph. Here it is. There we go. Mokohankan revenue 2018 to date meaning the end of June. And it's changed a bit from the year before. The thing at the bottom, the purple area, is Asakusa. That's now 37. Last year it was 32 or 33. And the reason it's grown to 37 is 2 reasons. This is a proportion. These are not raw numbers. Asakusa is growing, and online sales this year have been a little bit slipped from previous year, from the last year. And part of that is a few things. One is that we haven't had such steady supply of the Great Wave online. There's been, the last month or so we've been out of stock of it. So that's slumped online sales a little bit. Another reason that online sales have slumped a bit is because we haven't had so many new prints going in. So 13%, the green part here, this is the online sales of individual prints. It's low, and we really need to grow that.
Let's look at the other numbers. 37 at the bottom is Asakusa. 18% on the right-hand side is subscription revenue. This is down heavily this year for a couple of reasons. The Loot series, instead of being the $40 that the series was the year before, went down to $25. So we dropped the price thinking we'd sell more, and we did, but not enough to recover the loss in volume. So this year has been very low for us, and Jed hits Jed because he gets a royalty on this. So Jed's royalty from us this year has been low, low, low. The 9% at the left, that's Patreon, which is now actually a very, very important part of our business. It's not part of our business, it's part of our revenue stream helping us. And it's been now 9%. Last year it was about 3 or 4, and this year is going to be about 9% of our income. And it's now doing two things. It's still supporting Cameron, although Cameron's salary has rolled into our general income and expense system. Patreon is now helping us move forward into the papermaking project. And I've got to do a separate video talking about this. We've got tons of fiber upstairs. We've contracted for more fiber. We've contracted with another printmaker. The Patreon revenue is going towards that project. Next year's subscription series is what we're planning at the moment, and I haven't pressed the go sign on this yet. Jed and I are planning something different. It would be more expensive. It'll be around the $40 mark, but it will be something totally, absolutely different. We're looking at something that won't be game related, that will be simply beautiful woodblock prints related. And whatever, when I made my living in subscriptions, it used to be $100 a month for the poets, and then I slipped it to $60 a month for the City Monroe albums. And I made a living at it. Anyway, we could talk about subscriptions later. Literal tones. And the 19% there, what you're seeing, this is our, it says Mokongan revenue. This is our wholesale business of Ukiyo-e Heroes prints to Jet. Remember, we don't sell Ukiyo-e Heroes prints online. We sell them to Jet on a wholesale basis. He's the designer, the producer, he owns the IP, he contracts with this factory to make them. And 19% of our income is straight from Jet. He buys the Ukiyo-e Heroes. Oh, yeah. No, it's the microphone here. I didn't move it back after hanging up, sorry. I didn't move the mic back after moving it out of the way.
Good morning.
Oh, Kawai-san, good morning. Kawai-san, 9:17. That's Kawai-san. Okay, anyway, there we go. So that's our rev. So Asakusa is over a third of our income and growing. Subscriptions used to be a third of our income. It's shrinking. The rest is a bit mixed. So how it will turn out next year from now on, I don't know. That's our overall income. Next chart is, this is online business. The Asakusa shop is now removed from here. This is the online business, the one that was in the previous there. This is this one. So Heroes is out. This is that previous 13% segment. This is the green 13, now broken up into different stuff. And 1/3 of it is one print. The blue area is the Great Wave. 1/3 of our business is one print. The bottom, the green and purple area, these are the Shinhanga prints. We don't make these ourselves. These are the ones from Nemabe-san. This is Yoshida, Kawase Hasui, Tsuchiya Koitsu. We do a little bit of printing on a couple of those blocks, but most of them come from those 3 publishers. And that's 27%. The left quarter over there, 24%. These are our individual single prints that we have in our own catalog, prints that I've carved, which our printers are making here. Then the question that Ken Howell asked yesterday, what percentage of our business is the Hunger Club prints, the small one, it's 13% up there. Then that little sliver at the top, and this is just waiting to explode, it's the flea market. It's only 3% online. Why? Because we don't freaking have the prints online. We've got hundreds, as I sit here, I can see hundreds of prints. People would love to get access to them. We just haven't had the resources to get them online. Coming soon, I hope. Next one. This is now the Asakusa shop. Going back to that first graph, the 37% at the bottom, how that breaks down. And I am so happy with this because we have a chart with many, many, many generally equal segments, which means I think we have a well-distributed, well-balanced business here. That flea market that was only 3% on the online is here now, 15% of this. Yeah, Party 夜の間にパーティー予約入ったんですから、そう、まだカレンダーに入れてないです。 And you can see what they are. That 21% top right, our biggest single category. These are the prints that I carved, and the staff here is now printing on them. The Hunger Club is down at the bottom, 9%. Heroes appear here again because we buy prints back from Jed. The prints we previously sold to Jed, we made them. He bought them wholesale. We buy back from him as a shop to now sell here. So these Heroes prints in the bottom 18% here, Jed designed them. Over here, we physically made them. We send them over to Jed, sell them to him. He signs them, seals them, sells them back to us at a wholesale rate, and we put them in the shop at retail at the same price that he sells them online, of course. And then the little scraps, that Doi Hunger 11 and 9, these are the Shin Hunger prints. So Shin Hunger is about 20% of our income. And then the print party, over the left, print party is 13% of our income. So it pays for the staff. The print party pays for the staff to do the print parties. And if everybody left without buying anything, they wouldn't be so good, but any number of the people do end up buying something. Now, the next one is the last one. I've just got one more graph to show you before we sign off here. This is my entire history of print income since I came to Japan back in 1986. The first 3 years, 86, 87, 88, I sold no prints. I wasn't making prints. I was still just practicing. I didn't have a print making business. I was teaching English to support my family. And in 1989 was the first actual print that I sold. It was the beginning of the Poets series. And simply done, color-coded, what you see, the blue thing at the bottom, this was Dave's personal printmaking. It grew from next to nothing over the 10 years of the Shakutin Issue project, and 1999 was an explosive year. I was on every TV program, every newspaper, every magazine. It was an exhausting year. I sent out bajillions of prints, and I was still at this point doing everything absolutely myself. Then going down, it came back to normal for the year 2000, and so that was Surimono albums, and then I made a big change. In 2006, you will see the beginning of a green stripe, and this is the beginning of the concept of Mokohamkan. At this point, I hadn't hired any craftsmen, but the idea was, Dave, if you could take some of your energies and time and focus and maybe think about making a publishing company. And for that first few years, 2006, 2007, and 2008, I just nibbled at it. I carved myself. I hired artists, Gary Ludke, Mike Lyon. Some of my friends in America did some designs for me. I took some designs from classical work, and my own subscription prints fell down because I was spending too much time focusing on this other project, which had next to no revenue at all, but sucked up a huge amount of time. And then somewhere around 2011 and early 2012, I did the first hiring. We took in those 5 girls to start printing in the early spring of 2012. Hello. Good morning. Hello. And then the rest is history. Spring of 2012, the red bar starts. That's Ukiyo Heroes. Email from Jed in the spring of 2012, which absolutely clearly changed my life. I can't say it saved me, because if Mokohamkan wasn't going well, I was going to fire the girls, get rid of the green, go back to the blue. The blue would have recovered, and I would have gone back to business as a personal printmaker. And the red, you can see the Kickstarter campaign, the money came through 2013. The yellowish bar there is the subscription prints starting. This is Ukiyo Heroes subscription prints starting. 2014 was a spectacular year. We had money to burn. Let's open a shop in Asakusa. And there we go. 2015 and 16 pretty much stayed the same. 2017 now, we're getting our sea legs. We're presenting well. We're on YouTube all over the place. We had 150% growth in 2017. And now in 2018, I have no idea where it's going. No idea. That's not year to date. It's June. It's up to the end of June, the figure you see there for 2018. So basically you can double it, because for us the first half of the year and the second half of the year are pretty much the same. A couple of quiet months and a big season. A couple of quiet summer months and a big season. So we're looking again at 2018 to basically be 150% up. 2016, no blue. No, I was totally, absolutely buried in my work here, and no blue. And the 2017 and 18, you see a bit of blue. This is back numbers. People on our Japanese website finding the poetry series and putting in an order for the poetry series. So my back number prints that are sitting in the drawer. And that's it. That's where we are. I know for the future then, we're going to see some more colors coming in here. We can't do it right now. We can't do it today, but you're going to see another new color coming, which is going to be our tools and supply business. I can't announce it. I can't talk about it. Just simply, we want to do this. We're the right people to do this. We've got to get some tools made and then get that as part of this business. You know. The other thing to mention too is up until 2012, this was just me. There was no staff expenses. Now there's 20 people working here. So what you're seeing here is an income graph. This is not a profit graph. This is income. The 20 people working here, of course. The payroll every month now is stunning, absolutely stunning. I think it was 2.5 million last month. Cameron put out 2.5 million. And last week he was talking to me, he says, Dave, I don't think we're going to have enough cash for another 2.5 million by the beginning of August. So do something. Do something. Okay, sorry to bend your ear with this. I think it might be interesting. If I was sitting over where you are, I think this kind of stuff would be interesting to see. These are still just percentages. I haven't put raw numbers on them. But actually, you can figure this out. Anybody who's curious about this. One aspect of this thing, we go back to that first graph shows the percentages. And one of those figures is publicly online. So you can figure out, actually, this is the first 6 months revenue. One of those figures is online on its own website. And you can do the math if you like and figure out what our actual numbers are. Doesn't matter. Okay, let's pop that out of here. Okay, what's going to be happening now? This is Saturday morning. Sunday morning, there will be a stream. And what might it be? It might be pretty much a repetition of today's stream. Wrapping around the outside of this, clearing it off, and then doing the delicate clearing on the other part of it. I got some show and tell. I got some prints. If you remind me tomorrow about this, Okada Yoshio. Just remind me, Okada Yoshio. I've got some prints by my bench, and we can show and tell them tomorrow. So we'll do a bit of this. We'll do some noisy carving, we'll do some quiet carving, and we'll do some show and tell. I think I better get out of here. It's just us three. I am an active staff member this morning, and I'm going to have to work in the shop here. So I should sign off. Carson's doing something. Yeah, so. Oh, you can't see. Hang on a sec, just a moment. Hang on a sec. I'll put the camera back in the right place. There you are. Oh, Suzuki. Why is some kind of Yeah, just so. ちょっと暗いですね。わからないですね。Okay, sign off. We're signing off. Say goodbye to the stream. See you guys later. Thanks very much. Okay, see you tomorrow with another mix of different stuff. Bit of noisy carving, bit of quiet carving, and maybe a bit of show and tell. Thank you again, guys. Let's see if I can find the button. Camera off. Stop streaming button.